Outs, the project headed up by Def Leppard frontman and 2019 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee Joe Elliott. The third studio album, This Is How We Roll. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Elliott, how are you, sir?
Good morning, Tom. I'm good. How are you?
Marvelous. We have somebody, Chris Egert's in studio. He's a local television news anchor, and he's beside himself that he gets to talk to you.
Joe, how you doing today?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm doing very well. It's an honor to talk to you.
News?
What's going on in the news? I don't know. We got a little election going on over here. Seems to be the focus of everybody. I'm sure you're paying a little bit of attention to that, or not?
Brexit seems to be filling my life with boredom right now, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I stay apolitical. I don't really. It's not my thing. I prefer music to politics.
Good for you. I think that's a good position to have. So, Joe, why don't you tell us a little bit about this new project? And you guys just dropped a new single out a couple of days ago.
Well, the album came out on the 11th. The song went to radio about 10 days before then. The album's called This Is How We Roll. The band are called the Down and Outs, and it's a collective of. It's not exactly a super group, but everybody's got a mothership. You know, I'm in Def Leppard. 3 of the guys are in the Choir Boys. Cher, the bass player, she's in Vixen, and the drummer, Phil Martini, is a drummer in a band called the Wayward Sons. So I kind of borrow them when they're free, and that's one of the reasons this album took the best part of 5 years to record, because I had to record my bits any time between Def Leppard tours and get them when they weren't working. So literally, it probably took 3 months to record, but it was recorded over a 5-year period. But it works great because musically, it's like nothing from after 1975. It's a very 70s sounding album. So he's never going to go out of date because it was never in fashion in the first place. It's just songs that reflect my own personal journey, if you like. When I was growing up as a kid, the songs that I've written for this Down and Outs album are very reflective of what my own personal musical taste was back then. And Elton John, Leon Russell, T-Rex, Bowie, Queen, that kind of stuff. That's why I think the 10 songs that I wrote, 8 of them or 7 of them were written on a piano, which is why they're very, very different to Def Leppard.
And that's a departure from what you've normally done, because from Def Leppard, what I'm read, a lot of the songs that you wrote, you weren't writing about anything personal. So this has to be a whole different thing for you to be able to sort of share that side of you with your audience.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, the thing is, you step out of the we and you move into the I, and so, you're not representing 5 people's feelings or just writing something that they're all going to be happy to accept. It is a different headspace. When you're writing for the Down and Outs, they were more than happy to just let me get on with it, and that's pretty much what I did. So, I mean, it's not that we haven't gone personal before in Def Leppard. There's obviously a lot of this stuff isn't written that way, but we have gone there when we've needed to. But with this record, it definitely came from within, for the most part. There's a couple of out-and-out rockers, but even the title track, the one that's getting played, was actually the story about how the band got together. And so it was nice to be able to just take a different direction with it.
Well, definitely look forward to hearing that, and I'm sure the response has been good from your fans so far. Can we talk a little bit about Def Leppard?
Sure.
So what is your current, are you touring with them right now, or what's your tour schedule with them?
We're winding up for the year. We did a European festival tour in June, July, and then the rest of July we were in Canada. August, September we did the residency in Vegas for 3 weeks, which is great fun. And then we just did we did the IR radio show middle of last month. We just played Nashville, the Exit 111 festival, this Saturday gone. And then we have a gig in Sacramento on the 2nd of November, and then we're done till next year. So, it's been last year was a real hectic year for us when we did the stadiums and the arenas with Journey. That was like 86 shows we did that year. This year's only been about 40, 45. So it's kind of been like going to the areas that we missed last year. So next year will be another back on full, Leopard tour again. So, but we get the winter to hibernate, which is nice. Maybe do some down and out shows. I don't know.
Sure. Well, Joe, I heard you guys a couple of years ago, and I was just so pleasantly surprised on how tight you guys were. And your voice is incredible. It feels like it hasn't changed at all over the years. What kind of regimen do you do to keep those pipes where they are, and how you guys still have just such a great harmony and such a unique and awesome sound?
Well, we work very hard at it. We don't just turn up like, drink beer all day and then just walk on the stage. Like, as often as you'd be amazing with like these documentaries or, these kind of movies that they make about bands where they just, you don't do any work. You just turn up and do 90 minutes and then you leave and you're always fit. It doesn't work like that. We're like sports stars in many respects. We practice. We practice and we practice and we practice, and we spend ages working on the vocal harmonies, which is why it's a very left-handed compliment, but we've often been accused of like, oh, they're all samples, and it's like, okay, keep thinking that, that just makes us even more proud of the fact that we know that we're not sampled. It's real,
I mean,
everybody sings. I've been through so many situations with my voice that I'd be here all day trying to explain it to you, but my voice is as good as it is now purely by virtue of the fact that I've worked with a vocal coach for so long. I lost my voice. I got pneumonia twice in about 18 months, and he just ripped my throat to shreds to the point where I thought I'd never be able to sing again. But he built up my confidence and my physical ability to sing, and I'm in a better shape now than I was before. So a lot of these people, there are a few singers out there that just never change. Steven Tyler, Sammy Hagar have never lost it. Paul Rodgers never lost it. These guys sound the same as they ever do, if not better. And for the most part, most singers, they get worse, and I didn't want to go down that route. So I work really hard. It doesn't come natural to me. I have to work really hard at it, but I don't have a problem with that. I don't mind hard work.
Well, whatever you're doing, it's definitely working. Tell us a little bit. You came up with the name Def Leppard way back in the day. Where did that come from?
No idea.
You just thought of it?
Well, that's a child's imagination. I mean, I was a teenager when I thought of that. A young teenager, too. It was a school project where I got bored in art class of doing posters for real bands, and I just started making names up, and that just happened to be one of them, and it just stuck in my head. I thought phonetically it sounded good. It didn't ever look right when it was spelled correctly, which is why the spelling got changed. But, it was just, my imagination as a kid. At least I had one. That's the only excuse I've got for that name. It's a bit of a stupid name, really, but it's like horses. When you watch the horse race and you look at the names of the horse, you go, really? But if the horse wins, it's a great name, so I'm okay with it.
Well, Joe,
that's wonderful.
Yeah, we really appreciate your time, Joe. Thanks for humoring me on getting to ask him some questions too, Tom. I appreciate it.
Oh, no, not at all. I thought, look, Joe, I just found out today with listening to this interview that I guess the TV anchors don't suck at interviews.
Hey, I'm covered in tattoos due in part to the influence of Def Leppard, so God bless them. Love you guys.
John has a quick question.
Hey, real quick, congratulations on the Hall of Fame induction a year ago. I can't believe it's been a year already. How do you feel?
It was March.
Oh, so it hasn't even been. Yeah, you're right. How do you feel about,
let anybody ask a question.
It seemed like a year ago. Time goes real quick these days.
Yes.
How do you feel about, like, a Whitney Houston, even though she's an amazing talent, going into a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Does it matter to you?
No, I have no issues with any artist going into a Hall of Fame. Just take the rock and roll off the front. Just call it Hall of Fame. That's all it needs to be.
Yep.
We don't need museums. There's a museum for elephants, and then there's a museum for tigers. Put them in the same museum. It's ridiculous. They shouldn't be there. I don't think that rappers or soul singers should be in a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and rock and rollers shouldn't be in a Rappers Hall of Fame. They should just call it Hall of Fame. I don't have a problem. Whitney Houston is an incredible talent. She's just not rock and roll. But it gets silly because then last year people were saying, well, are The Cure and our Radiohead and our Roxy music really rock and roll? And it's like, well, then what's your definition of rock and roll? Purely, it can't just be Chuck Berry. Otherwise there's got to be Chuck Berry in there. So I think that the Hall of Fame should really drop the rock and roll part. That's my belief.
I think it's wonderful. Joe, I know you have to get going, but one more quick comment. I don't think I've had a chance to talk to you about this, but that school in Florida, it's a school for the deaf in Florida, and they renamed their sports team the Leopards. So they're the Def Leopards.
I remember
How cool.
An article when that happened about a year ago. Yeah, I thought that was pretty
wonderful.
Cool.
Isn't that just terrific? It's quite an honor, don't you think?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we sent some memorabilia down when that all came about. T-shirts and stuff. I just thought it was cute. Somebody's paying attention down there. That's all I can tell you about that.
Joe, thank you so much for your time today. Down and Outs, this is how we roll. Joe, always a pleasure, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm telling you what, though, Egert, all of a sudden you're Mr. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame interviewer.
Oh, come on. Dude, that was good. That's right in my wheelhouse, man. I'm telling you, I love Def Leppard.
Well, I'll tell you what, flat out, that was a really, really good interview. I loved listening to it.
Well, thank you.
It was terrific. So whenever, you want to do some more, we'll line up some interviews. Is there anybody you've really always wanted to interview that you haven't had a chance to? I
interviewed Motley Crue a long time in about 1998, which was also like the coolest thing. I was in the room with them. And I was working in Rapid City, South Dakota. There was really no purpose for me to interview them for the news. I mean, I did a story about it, but it's not like, they weren't controversial or anything at that point. But, so I was in the room with I don't think Tommy Lee was with them with that tour, but I was sitting next to Nikki Sixx and Vince Neil and Mick Mars, and that was pretty crazy. I asked Nikki Sixx, it was right after the Behind the Music came out, and I asked him, so what's it like, not drinking? What's it like being sober? And he just looks at me with this kind of glare. He's like, who says we're sober, man?
You don't want to hear it. Didn't even want to hear it. Chris Egert from Channel 5 Eyewitness News. Thank you, sir. Hell of an interview. Seriously, I thought it was a really good interview.
Thanks, man.
The
KQ Morning Show. If you're not listening, you won't hear it.
Tom Barnard here. Thanks for